Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Aubrey Park Hotel and our press conference for the next Goodwin promotion for July, Independence Day. Our promoter for that evening will be Josh Goodwin for Goodwin Sports. So I'll turn the microphone over to Josh. He'll say a few words, and then we've got some questions for the boxers as well.
I'd like to start off thanking everyone for coming today to the press conference for Independence Day. I'm going to start off by introducing each boxer. But first of all, I was going to say, it's 18 months since I've had my promoter's license this month actually. It's been great working alongside my dad for 2 years and Kev for the last 6 months and seeing the business grow and grow and grow. So I'm glad you're all part of the journey. Anyway, but on the far right is Nick Parper. He's managed by Costas, and from what I've been told by a lot of people, he's going to be exciting to watch. Next to him is Ossie, same division, so it'd be good to compare their two debuts. After that we have Ollie. I literally spent the last week with Ollie and I'll start to miss him already, but it's been really good to see him again. He's making his debut on the show also. On my right we have Ryan Taylor. He recently signed with my dad and we're starting to get good momentum with Ryan and hopefully soon he'll be fighting for big titles. On my left I have Rakeem. I was also in Turkey with him for a week, which I really enjoyed, got to know Rakeem a lot better. And he takes on the tough Lee Connolly, which we agreed today over 8 rounds. It's probably going to be Rakeem's toughest fight. He's been in the likes of Luke Campbell, Paul Appleby, and I think that could be fight of the night. Next we have Danny Parsons, finally making his debut. A lot later than it should have been, but at least we've got there, Danny. After Danny we have Louis Darling. He's dropping down to cruiserweight from heavyweight after his debut. He fought Moses Matuvu back in December, in March, and looked very good. Next to Louis we have John Cole. In my opinion, one of the most underrated trainers in the country. I've done a couple of sessions with John and it was fair to say I haven't been back since because it was that hard. But I'm going to pass over to my dad and he's going to have a little word about the show.
Yeah, firstly, I'd like to thank John McCallum for coming all the way from Scotland. John was due to be top of the bill with Leon McKenzie. John is here to film a head-to-head with Leon, which should be entertaining to say the least after this. But I very much appreciate him coming down from Scotland anyway to do that. Unfortunately, that was going to be top of the bill, but obviously not now. What we do have as top of the bill is a rematch for the Southern Area Light Middleweight title between Chris Adjadua and Freddie Turner, who's a holder. It was stopped in the 8th round. It was ruled an accidental clash of heads. Chris Adjadua said it was a punch. So it's a rematch and we'll see how it goes. Freddie's a favourite, but Chris is more committed than ever. So and I think it'll be a great fight. And a lot of the other lads on the bill are going to be offering about 18 fights I think we got on the bill, including lots of heavyweight action. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Rakeem make a little step up in class, fighting Lee Connolly, because Rakeem's not far away from titles. And Ryan Taylor really should be definitely having a Southern Area title in the very near future. Johnny Coyle's got the title, and I think Ryan's going to be gunning for him. It's going to be an exciting night. It's going to be a long night. I think we'll be there for about 6 or 7 hours. I would imagine that we'll end up with 16, 17 fights on the bill, so it's going to be a great night of action. Plenty of as you would normally see with a Goodwin card. I'll pass over to Brett, and he can do the questions. Hope there's not too many spicy ones.
All right, thanks, Steve. Again, I know I say this at every press conference, but well done putting this card together. The Goodwin team just goes from strength to strength. Another really, really exciting night of boxing. I'm really, really looking forward to this. So I'm just going to go down the line. We've only got one mic tonight, guys, so I'm going to walk behind you. I'll ask the questions, but as you're answering them, the camera's in front of you, so rather than look at me, just look at the audience or look at the camera. So we'll start with Nick Parpa. So, Nick, Virgil asks, you trained with Don Charles. What's he like as a trainer, and how are you progressing?
Yeah, Don's a very good trainer. I think he's one of the best in the country, to be honest. I've only been with him for about 5 weeks now, but he's good, very good.
Okay, and Mo asks, he says, ticket selling is an important part of a boxer at this stage. Do you have a lot of support, and if so, where does your support come from?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I do have a lot of support. Friends and family. I've been boxing for a long time now, so a lot of people know that I box. So it should be alright.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Next up, Ozzy Gervier. So Ozzy, Freddie asks, I remember you from the amateurs. You seem to have been around the amateurs for a long time. Why have you now turned professional? I always thought you would stay as an amateur.
Well, now is the time for me. Like, I know that I've been placed there for a reason. And the reason is for me to just turn pro. I'm happy at being a boxer, but staying at the amateurs, it just didn't feel right anymore. So I decided to just turn over and give the pro game a go. Well, not even a go. I'm here not for no joke. No, I'm here to go as far as I can. The sky's the limit for me.
Okay, and Leroy says, in your training and in your preparation, which fighter do you model yourself on, or who do you try to emulate in the ring?
With me, I watch boxing. I don't try to emulate no one. I just take what I feel is good for me from individual boxers. And then if it's good for my game, I take it and practice it in the gym. So there is no boxer that I am trying to be. I'm trying to be myself. And that's just it.
Okay, thanks, Aussie. Next up is Ollie Pattison. So Ollie, Stanley Kane says, I remember you from Finchley ABC. Who's training you now? Or who's training you now that you've turned professional?
My dad is training me now, the audience. He had a lot to do with me in the amateurs as well, but I thought it was the best option for me as I turned pro. And he knows me better than anyone, so I'm just happy to move on, and I think we can do good things.
And I guess it cuts both ways. It must be really great to train with your dad and be in the gym, and he can maybe he pushes you harder than another trainer might do. So can you talk a little bit more about what it's like training with your dad?
Yes, obviously it's intense. He knows me well, as I said, so you know, he knows when my body needs a rest and when I need to be pushed further. So it is good. Obviously sometimes we clash a little bit, but I think that's best because you know, he wants the best for me, and I obviously want to be the best I can be. So yeah, it's good.
Thanks, Ollie. Next up, Ryan Crash Bang Taylor. Ryan, Dean Gill says, you seem to be putting together a decent run of results now, winning your last two. Where do you see yourself in the next 12 months?
Yes, since taking a break and stepping up weight, it's all going well, feel good. Next 12 months, I'll take each fight as it comes now. What happens, happens. Anything that Steve has in line for me, I'll happily take, and I'll win each fight and take each one as it comes.
Okay, and Paul, perhaps I should ask this question first, not very nice. Paul Greer says, you failed at Southern Area level twice. What's the point in carrying on if you can't even win a Southern Area?
I'd like Paul to come here and say that to me, because I'll jump across the table. No, I'm joking. Again, like I said, I stepped up weight, so I'm putting it down to weight. And in my last two performances at light welterweight, which I was 10 years ago, I was light welterweight. Then for some reason, as a pro, I went lightweight. It was too low for me. 9 stone 9 absolutely knocked the life out of me. So I think I'm showing at light welterweight. That's the weight for me. So yeah, that's the answer to you.
Thanks, Ryan. Rakeem the Noble Ashe. Rakeem, Greg says, I saw your last fight. You got lucky with a stoppage on a cut. You were going to lose that fight. Do you honestly think on that performance you'll make it to a decent level?
I have no idea what fight that guy must have been watching, because I was ahead on points. That's why technical decision got called. The period went to me. I floored him in the second round. I won with him in the third round. So a performance like that, I feel pretty confident going into the next fight. I wish I had more fights performing like that, because I would have no problems whatsoever. So, what's his name, Greg?
Yeah.
I think he may have been watching a different fight. I should be directed at somebody else.
All right. And Gary says, I was speaking to Michael McKinson, and he said that you sparred quite a few rounds together in Turkey. Are you looking to fight in Turkey professionally?
Well, that's funny. We went to a boxing show in Turkey, and I said, Steve, I would love to one day probably fight out here because different opportunity, new grounds, spread my Ashley army around, spread the horizon. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all. So if the opportunity came up, I would be more than willing to take it.
Thanks, Rakeem. All right, Danny Parsons. Adam Hogan says, why did you pull out of your first scheduled fight?
The reason I pulled out my first scheduled fight was because I found out I had a heart murmur. Never came up before, so I went to do my medicals for my pro license, as you do. Doctor turned around and said I had one. There's nothing to worry about. Obviously, I had to get it all checked out. I've got all clear with that now. Got my license, so just looking forward to the 4th of July. Finally get my debut out of the way now.
And after pulling out of your fight and having some extra time to train, then how prepared do you feel going into this fight?
Yeah, definitely. I feel more prepared. Recently I've been sparring with Lewis Petit. He's in the top 10 in the world with the world rankings. My stablemate Tony Owen, getting more sparring with him. Craig White as well. We're all with the same trainers. I'm getting a lot more sparring, so I feel better now going into the 4th of July than I would have done if I'd have fought back in March. So yeah, I feel much more confident now.
Okay, thank you. And Louis Darling. So Louis, Greg says, I commented on your last press conference. I said I didn't think you were good enough after watching you on the unlicensed scene. I saw your pro debut, and I still don't think you're good enough. When are you going to show us all this talent you keep saying you have?
Well, for someone that says I'm not good enough, my record speaks for itself at that level. I won a world title at that level. And obviously now, as a pro, we've made the decision to drop down to cruiserweight because, these heavyweights are just too big nowadays. And obviously we want to step up the levels and we want to show people what we can do. But now at cruiserweight, it's a lot different. 4th of July, a lot of people are going to say that, and then obviously we'll wait to see what Greg comments about next.
Fair enough. Okay, and Tom Fuller says, you face Paul Morris in your next fight. Have you been doing anything different to prepare for this fight?
Yeah, we've done a lot of stuff different. I'm not going to sit here and give it away because, a lot of the stuff that we've been doing, we've seen a lot of people doing now. But like I said with my last answer, things are different now. Just all I can say is things are a lot different. And yeah, I was moving well as a heavyweight, but Paul Morris doesn't know what's coming to him on the 4th of July.
All right, we'll talk to you a little bit about that, John. So what's it like working with Louis, handling Louis? Where have you seen him sort of excel and evolve as a fighter since you've been involved?
I think Louis come on really well in the last 4 or 5 weeks. He's been looking fantastic. Great footwork, punches very hard with very good right hand and left hook.
All right, we've got some questions for Steve and Josh, which we don't normally get. So we'll go to Steve first. Steve Haynes says, Turkey looked amazing. What's your reason behind running these camps? Also, can I come on the next one? I can easily fit into a small suitcase.
We need to turn pro and sign with us first if he wants to come. One of the things when we came into boxing was we felt that the boxers generally non-TV level. The general thing that happened was boxers were sent a pile of tickets, they were off to sell them, they turned up on the night, and that was what they did. And we wanted to make a difference and change that. Part of things like press conferences help them to promote. But then we thought about something sort of that we can give back that they will really appreciate. They might appreciate this, but to go to Turkey and be paid for. We pay for the flights, so we pay for the flights, we pay for the accommodation, we pay their cars. The only thing they pay for is their food and drink when they're out. So everything else is covered for them. And it's nice for boxers that are not at the elite level to be treated like an elite level fighter. And that's what we wanted to do, to show that somebody does appreciate what they do and will put money and spend that money into them. I'm fortunate that in my job as a financial advisor, I've created a successful business over the years, so I can afford to spend money on doing things like this. And that's what I want to do. It's to basically to show these guys that we appreciate them and hope other people do the same. That's the logic behind it, and we're going to continue to do them. we're definitely doing one in 12 months. That maybe we'll move it to twice a year at some point, but we'll see how that goes. But the objective is to build them and make them bigger. And these guys that have been here, I mean, Ollie and Rakeem on this table here, both were there with us last week. So and they both really enjoyed it. So I think it's not just the fact that we do them. They'll tell you it's well organised. They work hard. They have some time off as well. And it's also really good to get to know these lads a lot better, because a week away with them, I can get to know them better. And that's really important as well. And Josh and Olivia and Kevin were also out there, and we know them. We know what makes them tick now. I know with Rakeem exactly how he functions and what makes him tick and what makes him work. I now know exactly what sort of, how many rounds I think he needs to excel in. I know how he works. I know what he'll do when he's in the depths of a fight. I know where his strengths are going to be, and I've learned that in the last week, even more so than before. So that sort of thing helps us, and I think it's really, really important. And it gives us an edge over everybody else as well.
I think in our last press conference, somebody asked you about putting the boxers first, and I think that's fantastic. And you had mentioned that a lot of other promoters are starting to do things kind of the Goodwin way. And hopefully in years to come, we see a lot more promoters doing things and changing the way they do business based on your model. And speaking of the future, Toby Hansen says, are you grooming Josh Goodwin to take over from you in the same way Barry Hearn did for Eddie? He's got the same suit on.
I mean, my personal plan is to concentrate on the management side, because that's where I feel I can really add value to the boxers. So, I mean, Josh promotes in his own right, as does Olivia and as do Kevin. They all operate individually to do that. And as time goes on, I do expect to basically pull away from promoting and work management-wise, because I now manage around 70 boxers. Quite able to cope with that. They are able to speak to Kevin, Josh, and Olivia as well, because we operate it we've got a proper infrastructure. But that's where you can add the value, because once everybody learns all the promoting things, that runs itself. It's the management side and that side that's the key that these guys need. So that's moving forward. As far as Josh is concerned, I don't think we can compare Barry Hearn with Eddie Hearn. They're a lot more richer than we are.
For the moment.
And Eddie's doing a good job. He came into it when he obviously learned it, went off and done his thing. What Josh is doing slightly different is he's doing it really from the bottom up. So hopefully one day he'll be something that he will have done really from the age of, it'll be 18 that he started, and he'll be able to say that he did it from the age of 18 and did it from small all the way up. Eddie obviously took over a big sport business that was already established. So this is a different, so I don't think you can compare us, but we're trying to do it, but from a different level upwards.
I think that's a great point. Differentiation between somebody taking over a sports business that's already up and running and has lots of arms versus somebody who's building something from the ground up. So yeah, absolutely. And I guess a follow-on question, I guess everybody's thinking the same thing. From Marcus, question for you, Josh. You're still so young for a professional boxing promoter, but your reputation is growing. How far do you think the Goodwin brand can go, and do you see yourself at the helm one day? He's talking about you.
I'd like to start off talking about the last bit of the question. Taking over the helm, I've already set up my own promotional company, Goodwin Sports. That's the company I want to grow over the next few years, and eventually get a TV deal of some sort, with box off ticket deals onto guaranteed purses. That's the ultimate dream of any promoter in this country. And that's my long-term aim, and that's why I'm in the boxing business, really.
All right, thanks, Josh. Any questions from anyone in the audience? I'll cautiously hand the microphone to you.
Sorry, this is for Steve. On the subject of Eddie Hearn, he signed a 5-year extension, exclusive arrangement with Sky Sports. Why, in your opinion, has every other promoter in this country not bitten off the hand of BT Sports, who are the logical? If you look at Sky Sports with their football, the only logical competitor of BT Sport. Why hasn't every other boxing promoter in this country bitten off the hand of BT Sport? And will you be one of those people trying to do that?
we would love to work with BT Sport, but it does appear that one promoter's already got his foot in the door there. And that's my understanding of the situation as it stands. So,
With the human cockfighting, with the bell going down.
well, yeah, and some delayed showings of other events. So it does look, and I'm told that another promoter's already got his foot in the door there. So if that's not the case, then we will try to get in. But at the moment, BT Sport seem to be just dipping their toe and having a look. I think a lot depends on what happens with other TV channels as to whether they go into BT Sport or what's there. And it appears they're taking a watching brief, but there is a connection there with an existing promoter, which seems to be fairly strong. And I think it's going to be fairly difficult to break through that as it stands at the moment. But of course we'd be delighted to work with them. But there's other channels looking at coming in. I see that Dennis Hobson has got a show with Spike TV, which is a branch of Channel 5. I presume he's probably paying production on that. There's probably no money in there, but which for me, we really need to be getting a TV company who are going to put money in rather than want to have free content. Eurosport now, from my understanding, are making promoters pay the production, so there's nothing there. So what we really need is a new TV company to come in with a bit of money, and when we see the opportunity, that's something we're striving to get, and this is part of our process. Are we big enough yet to get a big TV deal? Probably not, but we're in 12 months' time. I think the way that we're developing, we're going to create a brand and a list of fighters that would appeal to a new TV company wanting to come in. I'm just not sure that will be BT Sport.
Any other questions?
Mine's not exactly a question, it's just like to thank Goodwin Promotions basically for breathing a fresh life into boxing, the way it's done now, promotion wise. And like your MC just said, I think this is the way forward. And it's nice for a promoter to look out for these boxers and not just be committed to making money. So that's all I've got to say, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
You're always good for one or two.
I apologise, it's can't understand my own voice in the speakers, so I shouldn't ask really. The question's for John. I speak to you a lot on social media with Stuart. You come across very inspirational. I'm not here to obviously kiss your bum, but basically what it is obviously I'm going to be biased because I work in mental skills, but you come across as if you kind of know that side, and you always talk about the mindset of sport. And do you think a lot of boxers, stroke coaches, kind of leave it to luck rather than, obviously the physical side you work on, but a lot of coaches and boxers seem to not take the mental side so serious, or if they do take it serious, they keep kind of quiet about it. I was just wondering what your views on it was.
As a coach, Stuart, I think it's most important to use the mind and the skill as well, you know. I use it with my fighters all the time. We've used it in the amateur career, used it with the pros now. I think it's very important. Use the mind and the skill.
All right, any other questions? How about a hand for all of our boxers? Oh, hold on a second.
Did you say that question come from Greg? Is his name Greg? Because me and John have just had a chat, and if he wants me to prove myself, there'll be a free ticket on the door at York Hall for one of both.
All right, that concludes our press conference. Look forward to seeing you all at the York Hall on the 4th for Independence Day.